Okay, this is the daily money-making setups for processtrading.com using the right edge system, day trading the S&P E-mini 500 with the 1500 tick bar chart. Now, the last few days, we've had pretty strong trending days. So we expect that that won't last and there'll be some consolidation. And today was more that type of a day. It was pretty much a non-trending day. So what happened today, we used the discretionary trading part of the process trading right edge system instead of the trend trading part because there was no trend available today. Now, in the discretionary system, we use the indicators below the price bars here. In particular, there are Intergy, which stands for internal energy, the cinnamon oscillator, which tells how strong the cinnamon is for price moving up or down, and it also has a momentum line that are bounded in an oscillator with a midline to it. Then the third discretionary indicator is the short-term trend indicator that has, it's an oscillator that has upper and lower bounds that change in slope and in size so that they form more of a channel. And it also gives you good information as to the strength of a move and the strength of a trend. So what we need in taking a discretionary trade is we need our discretionary indicators to all confirm with each other. Now, the power of that is that these are non-correlated indicators. They're not all priced off of price and volume. They're all not analyzed off of price and volume. So they take in three different sets of data, and so you're getting the confirmation among the three as to what price is going to do. So we had the three discretionary indicators today that we would take because we expected it to be a non-trending day because trending days are really only about 25% of all market days, and the rest are pretty much reversals or non-trending. So in our first segment here, we are looking for a discretionary setup. We see on the energy that the energy came in strong here, which is indicated by the green part of the histogram, and then it turned weak, which is indicated when it turns yellow, and also the red underscore shows some weakness to it. Next, one of the most powerful indicators is the cinnamon oscillator itself, where the momentum line, when it cuts through the cinnamon line, invariably price will continue to move in that direction. And here we see the cinnamon line crossing through, the momentum line crossing down through the upper bound, having crossed down through the cinnamon line. And indeed, we see that price goes down. Just to jump ahead a little bit, here we see it cutting through and going up, and we see price going up. And here we see it cutting down and going down, and we see price going down. So that's a very much of a heads up that we're looking for when we're trying to correlate or correspond all the non-correlated indicators here. So our energy is weak. We know that that's coming out of it, and our momentum is headed to the downside, and the slope now is starting to angle down as well. And then the short-term trend oscillator was above the upper bound, which shows strong strength and trend, but now it cuts down through the upper bound. So it's right when it starts to cut down, we have all the all the indicators in agreement. The short-term trend is down. The cinnamon oscillator, both the cinnamon line and the momentum line is down. The momentum line, in fact, is cut through the midline. and the price we see is getting weaker. So it is at this price bar right here where all those non-correlated indicators are in agreement that we're going to take our discretionary trade. Now, since we're taking it to the downside here, we can only trade on a red bar. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to trade on the low of that red bar, or we're going to trade on the close of the red bar right here. And that gets us in about right there. And then we could stay into this point here, or we could continue on and stay into this point here. And that's about a 3 or a 7 point move, depending on how you traded it. The next discretionary trade that we're going to take is to the upside. And we might as well start right with the cinnamon oscillator. We know that the momentum line has to cross the cinnamon line. And in this case, because we're looking to go long, is both good indications because the momentum line is cutting up from the bottom of the oscillator up through the cinnamon line, and the cinnamon line itself is starting to slope up. So they're both going in a positive direction. And here we see this is the first small part of the histogram where the energy or the internal energy is showing that the weakness is over and strength is starting to come in. We also know that on the trend, because the trend, although it shows a red line that shows a downtrend, and remember the trend will often lag because a trend has to show the changes that a trend goes through, which is higher highs and higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows. Well, in this case, we have the slope. So on this trending oscillator here, it's not only the color that is important, it's the slope. The next thing that's exceptionally important is this is not just any midline here. This is a pullback line where price goes to it. If it goes through it, it pulls up and falls back. So time and again, you will see the price will hit this. And if it goes through it, that's a significant indication. So right at this point here, we have our short-term trend sloping up. We have the cinnamon oscillator, both the momentum and the sentiment headed up, and we have energy coming into the move. So right at this doji here, and this doji, if you can see it, it's right between this red bar and this green bar here. There's a white doji right on the VWAP line right there. So that's where we're going to get in, right at that doji. We follow our rules, which would be to take it at the close, but the close of that doji, and what makes it a doji is that the close and the open are the same. So we get in there, and we can take that price up here for a couple points, or we could take it up to here for, 4 points or more. So those are our first two discretionary trades. And now we're going to take the last discretionary trade. Again, we're looking to the downside here, and we are prepared because the cinnamon oscillator again has or the momentum line is cut through the upper bound of the cinnamon oscillator and cut through the sentiment line. So momentum is going down and the sentiment is dropping off as well for taking the trade higher. So also on the energy, we see the energy, which was green and showed strong upward movement, has turned gray, which shows weakness. Now, eventually, it did even fall through to red, which shows weakness. But we saw the weakness here, and again, we saw the short-term trend oscillator cut down through the upper bound, so now it's sloping down. Remember, the slope is a significant thing within the short-term trend oscillator. As a matter of fact, the slope and the position within the oscillator relative to this pullback line are probably more important than the colors. But we see that the slope is heading down. It got to the pullback line, and now it's below the pullback line. So right at this point here, we have all our discretionary indicators corresponding to each other. And so we're going to get in right at this price bar here. It's a small price bar sandwiched between this larger one and the one with the tail. So we're going to get in right there. And the way that we're going to do that again is we're going to get in at the close of that bar. And then we could have taken that bar down. This whole bar here is good for 10, 11 points. You could have taken 4, 6, 7, whatever out of that. But this is exactly how you would do your discretionary trading. So today, the trending part of the process trading right edge trading system did not come into play because it was a non-trending day. And so we actually did not use our timing alert dots, and we did not particularly use the color of the VWAP, nor the same trade management that we use when we're in a trending system. So I hope that showed you how to make discretionary trades on non-trending days, which are often more prevalent than the trending days. And if you want to see, make sure you catch the next setups for the previous day. Now, this particular chart was for May 7th. Of course, it's posted on May 8th, but it was for May 7th. If you want to see the trade setups, then go ahead and subscribe. Or if you want to see how the system itself works, there's a bunch of explanation videos and results over on processtrading.com if you want to check that out. So until the next video, I hope all your trades are successful, and we'll see you then.